The FDP will be on enhancing knowledge for conducting online classes, laboratories, and examination for the polytechnic or technical teachers. This first session will be on education, technology, and engineering education. The session will be carried out by our beloved principal, the resource person for this session. I am very happy to introduce our beloved principal, the resource person of this session, Sri G.P. Danashetti sir. He has served the institution as lecturer, head of department, and he is the principal since 1st of May 2005. He has experience of 5.5 years as lecturers, 12 years of experience as HOD, and is a principal till today. He also has served the institution as the NCC officer and the hostel warden for 12 and 8 years. He is having many credits. And he has an experience of many types of duties. He has performed the maintenance of the working of vehicles of our Sangha. He is the active member, state level member of curriculum development committees for the state of automobile engineering department. He is also the state level advisory committee member of NSS under Directorate of Technical Education, Bangalore. He is the chairman of the academic committee, award committee of our college. He is also now the one of the important place for the community college which has started under MHRD, New Delhi. To talk about his achievements, he has been awarded just recently with the Best Polytechnic Teachers Award for Karnataka State for the year 2020. He has he has achieved a lot of awards for his work. He has received Indira Gandhi National Award from President of India for NSS unit for the year 2015-16, National Young Leader Program Award for year 2015-16 for NSS unit. He has prepared and has deliberated lecture on strategic planning for institutional development. He has also conducted training programs for need analysis for nearly 25 short-term skill-oriented courses through Continuing Education Center under CIICP, Canada Institutional Cooperation Project. He has planned, designed, and evaluated nearly 25 STTPs under CICP. He has planned and designed and evaluated instructional video program at NITTR Chennai. He has also presented 12 papers at international and national level seminars. He has worked as a resource person in national level staff development program sponsored by AICT IST New Delhi. He has worked as a resource person in the student personal development programs. He is also put efforts for preparing the laboratory manuals. He is also one of the prepared the human resource policies for technical institutions of our Sangha, BUS Sangha, Bagalkot. He has worked as a consultant for polytechnics to prepare and implement strategic planning for the institutional development. These are just a few to talk about. And he is also a very skill-oriented person. He is very much accustomed to working on all the e-learning tools. He has skills for showing on his curriculum development, strategic planning, job analysis, need analysis, institutional administration, and HR management. He is the life member of many state level and national level and international organizations. He is a life member of Institution of Engineers Calcutta, ISTE New Delhi, Indian Society for Training and Development ISTD New Delhi, and Rotary Club of Bagalkot. I am very happy to bring forth in front of you all this resource person, the prestigious resource person, for the day. So today we will start with the next our session on education technology and engineering education. I welcome you, sir, with this brief introduction. Welcome, sir. Mute balance here. Sir, mute here.
Good morning to you all. So I am Mr. G.V. Danashetti, Principal, BBBS Polytechnic Bagalkot, Karnataka State speaking. The topic today in this first session to be presented by me is educational technology and engineering education. So here I have divided my presentation into three important elements. The first one is education, technology, and engineering education. My presentation mainly focuses on introduction, evolution of educational technology, meaning of educational technology, definition of educational technology, characteristics of educational technology, nature of educational technology, objectives of educational technology, scope of educational technology, advantages of education technology, appropriate approaches of educational technology, resource centers and services in educational technology, engineering education in India, major challenges of Indian education system, and last one is conclusion. Here, as you know already, today the whole world is hindering or hampered by coronavirus, and this has forced us to go online for each and every activities. So online activities are inevitable today, and they have become a part and parcel of our routine life. If we do not adopt this digitalization in our routine life, we may feel we may be illiterate in a digital. So that is why this training program or this short-term training program on enhancing knowledge for conducting online classes, laboratories, and examinations for polytechnic and engineering college teachers is very much important. It enhances this program enhances the knowledge of online training or knowledge of online practice for the teachers. It is an important activity for present teachers. So here, first of all, I would like to clarify the meaning of some terminology. Education, technology, engineering education, education technology, concept, objectives, and scope. What do you mean by an education? If this question is asked teachers and students, they will give a different answers, but the outcome will be the same, and the purpose will be the same. So according to me, education is nothing but it is a process of facilitating learning or acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, morals, beliefs, habits, and personal development. Here the education is nothing but it is a process. which enables or which facilitates the learning, or it is a process of acquisition of knowledge or skills, values, morals, beliefs, habits, and personal development. So the personal development is an outcome, or it is a purpose of education. So the education mainly focuses on human resource development. And this education system is having its own vision, and aims, goals, and objectives. Today in India, already you are knowing, new education policy, National Education Policy 2020 have been launched very systematically. And as per the National Education Policy 2020, the vision, the broader vision of this NEP 2020 is the NEP 2020 envisions an education system rooted in Indian ethos, which transforms or which takes direct part in transformation of our nation sustainably into equitable and vibrant knowledge society by providing high quality education to all. This is the vision of our National Education Policy 2020 right now. So here, the main purpose of this policy is to convert our nation into equitable and vibrant knowledge society. And the education system should be rooted in Indian ethos. So here the system of education, what we are going to implement today, is focuses more on Indian ethos. Indian ethos means the morals or values which are being practiced by Indians today right now. So Indian values, the traditional values, are very highly respected and accepted throughout the globe today. That is why the education system should be value based and skill based. Values and skills are, these two are the important legs of our today's National Education Policy 2020. We should not forget the skill. At the same time, we should not forget the skills. If we give a proper skills and proper attitudes or values to the citizens, definitely our India will become a global hub of the knowledge. So by 2040, our India should lead the world in knowledge. It should be a knowledge and skill hub of the world, skill center or knowledge center of the world. So that is the aim or objective of our today's National Education Policy 2020. But here, this process, this education process mainly consists of four important components. The first one is curriculum, second one is teaching, third one is learning, fourth one is evaluation. So curriculum, teaching, learning, and evaluation, these are the four important elements of an education system. Out of these four, all are equally important to have a better education system in India. All these four aspects or events has to be given a proper attention. Here the curriculum. So the curriculum is nothing but it is a pathway to reach the outcome. It is a one that is called as the heart of an education system. If the heart is strong, definitely the man will be very strong. If the curriculum is strong, definitely the education system will be very strong. The curriculum has to be designed very systematically, scientifically, strategically, and synergetically. If we design curriculum very systematically or on a scientific basis and very strategically and synergetically, then it will be very excellent curriculum which actually leads our education system to the proper or to the stipulated aim or vision. So here, to develop a curriculum, today so many methods are being adopted or used throughout the world. But the important component of curriculum development system is that is the need assessment survey. We have to assess the need of our country, not an individual. If the assessment is very scientific or very strategic, so that means diagnosing of the disease. Once the doctor diagnoses the disease very systematically or very accurately, then he can treat the patient very excellently, then patient will be cured. If the analysis or diagnosis is very wrong, the treatment will be 100% wrong, definitely the patient will be died. So that is why here, to safeguard our education system, indirectly to safeguard in the education system means, in my view, in my perception, safeguarding the country. So one sentence I heard somewhere, it was written on a University of South Africa somewhere. I have read in newspaper. To win or to destroy any country, to win the country, you will not make any war. To destroy or to win the country, just you destroy the education system of that country. So once the education system is declined, automatically the country will be declined. It is a root cause. So that is why the education is a very important element of our livelihood or the existence or survival of the human beings on the earth. We should not neglect or we should not make any negative or negative opinion regarding education. Education should be respected at a very high profile. So that is why in the education, the important element is curriculum. It is the heart of an education system. That means heart of the country, or it is the soul of the country. So that is why the curriculum should be designed very systematically, scientifically, strategically, and synergetically. And the need assessment survey, we have to specify a specific needs very systematically. There should not be any wastage of resources to achieve something. On cost of our humanity, you should not achieve victory. On cost of lot of money, you should not achieve less things. So that is optimization of all resources in the institution or in the country to achieve required goal is very much important. That is why during design of curriculum, to make a data assessment survey, we have to use a systematic strategy. So that is a challengeable today. As per National Education Policy 2020, it should be done very scientifically. Need assessment survey for the country, and again need assessment survey for the states, for the districts, for the talukas, for the families, for the person, for the institution. All these needs, all these visions should be correlated with each other. Already you know the National Education Policy vision, and the country should have one vision. It is only policy vision. Whole country should have one vision. This policy vision should correlate that vision. The vision of our country is by 2040, it should be a knowledge hub of the world, and it should be a guru of the peace and love. Whole world should look towards country, India. India is without India there is no world. That type of concept should be created in 2040. It is a possible. It is a possible if all the teachers are having a right passion towards achievement. Because we are having a lot of intellectuals in India, but if you mobilize and channelize that intellectuals in systematic way to reach the vision of our education policy, definitely by 2040, there is no doubt at all we will become there is a guru of the world. And there will not be any war. There will be totally peace and silence in the earth. So like that, we have to design the curriculum. The curriculum should be rooted in Indian ethos. So that is why need assessment survey should be very important. And next one is Next element of education is teaching, curriculum, teaching. So here the teaching is also a process. The teaching is also a process. But here in teaching, the teacher is an important element. Teacher should be a great psychologist, sociologist, economist, in addition to mastery in the subject. Today, what we are expecting, the teacher should be mastery in the subject. But in addition to that, he should be great psychologist, he should be a great sociologist, he should be great economist. Then only we can mold the students in required manner. Otherwise, we will mold the students only to create expertise in the subject. But expertise in the subject is not important today. It is only 25% is important. 75% is based on his attitude, values, behaviors, and management skills. So that is why the teacher should be a great psychologist, sociologist, and economist. Then only he should be able or eligible to become a teacher. So mastery in the subject can be developed by reading books, by attending training programs. But being a great psychologist, he should practice that one. Economist, sociologist, he should know each and everything in the society, what is going on around the world. So that is why more exposure to the teacher is required today. The teacher should not be constrained or should not be restricted towards four walls of the classroom and in the campus. Teacher should be exposed to all knowledge in the world. Then only he can teach very perfectly. So that is why a teacher is a soul of the education system. Is a soul of the education system. He should be right enough. He should be right enough. And the teaching mainly depends upon the lesson plans and pedagogy. He should be able to plan lesson very systematically, and he should use a very excellent pedagogies to teach that. And as per OBE, outcome-based education already is a new practice in education system today. Most of the institutions have adopted outcome-based education in their college or in their university. So this outcome-based education, actually, each and every teacher should know the philosophy of outcome-based education system because it is globally accepted. So here you might have heard the name of William Spady. So William Spady have given a very good principles of outcome-based education system. As per his philosophy, the first one, so we should believe that or should accept that all human beings on earth are malleable creatures. So all human beings on earth are moldable, changeable, transformable creatures. We should believe it first. If you want to go for outcome-based education, you should not differentiate or you should not make a negative statement regarding any student. You should not say it is highly impossible to convert him, but then it is not suitable for OB. Once the beliefs, once the perceptions is positive towards student, then OB will be successful. That is why he has told all human beings on earth are malleable creatures. You have to believe. First the teacher has to believe it. Then only he can go for outcome-based education. If you don't have belief on that, don't go for outcome-based education. It will be failure. William Spady have told. Once you accept that one, all human beings on earth are malleable creatures, you can mold them. Then each and everybody can learn and succeed, but not in the same way with the same speed. So the learning speeds and learning ways are different from different people. It is different from different people to people. We have to accept it. Some people are slow learners, some people are moderate learners, some people are speed learners. Here, according to their learning speed and their learning style, their learning mode, you have to design our instruction. You have to design our lesson plan. So that is the second philosophy, the second principle of a outcome-based education. Each and everybody can learn and succeed, but not in the same way with the same speed. We have to design different way for different people according to their requirement, and the speed also has to be designed. One person may learn the one subject within one week, another person may learn within 2 weeks. The speed is different from person to person, learning speed. And third one is a small success breeds to more success. A small success breeds to more success. If you get success in the beginning, definitely you will be successful at a higher level. That is why you have to take care. The student should not get failure immediately after learning. So you have to focus more on his learning and more on his confidence. So each and every success breeds more success. Each and every success breeds more success. So that is why always you have to be positive with the students, and you have to teach positive to the students. So if you adopt these three principles in your routine life, in your passion, then only outcome-based education will be successful. So like that, the teacher has to design lesson plan as per the requirements of the student aspirations or student ability. Then only there will be an effective and quality teaching will be there. And third one is learning. It is very important things, because the purpose of teaching is to assure or is to affect learning, effective learning of the student. We are teaching not as a teacher, or not as a profession, or not as a employee. We are teaching, we are doing our duty to make the student learn. So learning is important element of education system, important element of system. So if the curriculum is the heart of the system, learning is the brain of the system. So that is why learning. So learning will be happened in three domains. It may be happened in psychomotor domain, or it may be happened in the cognitive domain, or it may be happened in affective domain. There are three domains of learning. Learning will be happened in three domains. That is cognitive domain, psychomotor domain, and affective domain. So we have to teach in all these three domains, and the student should learn in all these three domains. And what is learning here? What do we mean by the learning? So there are different definitions from different people, but according to me, learning is nothing but it is a relatively permanent change in behavior that occurs as a result of practice or experience. So in the learning, there are two important components or two important elements. The first one is practice and experience. It is a learning is relatively permanent change in behavior. There should be change in behavior. If you are doing teaching, the learner should have change in behavior. If there is no change in behavior, the teaching will not be effective. As per the definition, learning is a relatively permanent change in behavior that occurs as a result of practice or experience. So this behavior will be occurred because of practice and experience. That is why in teaching or in teaching learning process, more importance should be given to the practice and experience, not giving mere information. But today what's being happened, we are dumping more information in the brains of the student, which cannot be accommodated very systematically in the brain. But here, as per the definition, there should be change in the behavior. But this behavior is being happened only because of practice and experience. So that is why in learning, two important elements are practice and experience. You expose them, you give a experience learning, let them get experience of learning. Give practical things, show them everything, show through animation, and take them to exposure visit, and you tell all the information, where it is, how it is, why it is like that. Just don't present all the information before them on the chalkboard, on the boards with chalks. So that is why practice, you have to make them practice. Let them go on practice. So that is why practice and experience are very much important for learning. That has to be done very systematically. So here in all these three domains, in cognitive domain, they always enhances the knowledge part. It enhances the knowledge. The psychomotor domain, it enhances the skill. Affective domain, it enhances the attitude. This knowledge, skill, and attitude are equally important. 33% should be given to each. So then only the man will be perfect. He is very perfect man. And this is regarding an education. So here, I remember one thing here. As per Einstein's statement regarding education, I heard somewhere, I read it. Einstein have given one good statement for education. As per his statement, education is not to mere knowing the facts, but it is a training the minds to think. It is a training the minds to think. So we have to train the students' mind to think. That means we have to mold the students to be more creative, competitive, constructive, productive, effective, positive, and proactive. As per Einstein's statement, the student should be more creative, he should be more competitive, he should be constructive, he should be productive, he should be effective, he should be positive, he should be proactive. Then only it is being called as an educated person. That is why, as per Einstein's statement, education is not mere knowing the facts, knowing the events, knowing the information, but it is a training the minds of the people or students to think, minds of thinking. So like that, we have to train the students such a way in education system. And fourth one is evaluation. Here evaluation, that is nothing but a confirmation. So education system only consists of a content and communication and confirmation. Content means curriculum or syllabus ideology. Communication means teaching learning process. Confirmation means evaluation. That is why a content, communication and confirmation. 3C. So evaluation should be done very systematically and it should be effective evaluation. New techniques of evaluation are available and new techniques are available throughout the globe. So I had to adopt a suitable evaluation techniques for our students. That evaluation means to assess or to measure the students, to measure the students in all three domains, in psychomotor domain, in cognitive domain, or in affective domain. So to measure the students in all these three domains, we have to design a measuring tool. That is the evaluation tool. The evaluation tool should be very accurate. It should not be flexible. The tool should measure for what purpose it has been designed. If you design the tool to measure student knowledge, if it doesn't measure that knowledge, there is no use of that tool. That is why the tool should be designed such a way that it should be able to measure the required component. So that is why there should not be any flexibility in the design of tool. That is why the evaluation tools has to be designed very systematically. That will be learned in the next classes, online evaluation procedure through softwares. It will be, all these aspects are taken care into design of this training program. And here, if you go to the ancient education system, so in India, what was the purpose of ancient education system? The main purpose of ancient education system was to get complete realization and liberation of self. It was the main purpose of our ancient education system in India. Two things: to get complete realization and the liberation of self. You should know who I am, how I am, why I am. If you get realization, then there is a effective education. If you don't get any understanding regarding yourselves, then there is no education is totally failed. That's why in Gurukula they were teaching first of all about yourself, who you are, why you are born on the earth, and what you have to do. So that was the main purpose of education system in India, to have a complete realization and liberation of self. Realization of self and liberation of self. Liberation means what? You have to be totally free from all worries, totally free from all bad things. You have to enjoy the life mentally, mental peace, that is mental silence or mental peace, mental satisfaction, that is contentment. Education for contentment. Education is not for employment. So actually education is for contentment. If you are contented, definitely your passion will be changed. But here we are forgetting. Today the education is for employment, education is for exploitation. Education for survival of the whole world, not for exploitation. But some professional education is focusing towards exploitation. So the main purpose of professional education as per National Education Policy 2020 is two purposes. So one is the public purpose and the other one is multidiscipline or ethics and public purpose. The professional education purpose, the purpose of professional education as per NEP 2020 is ethics and public purpose. Then only the professional will create a whole world. All there is a beautiful country. So that is why here I stress more on value-based education rather than content-based education. Content may be anything. It can be learned, but values cannot be learned. Values can be practiced. That is why in the introduction, in the very inaugural function, I told the values are the pillars of survival, pillars of survival or pillars of sustainability and survival or existence. So that is why we should focus more on value-based education. That is why we have to evaluate the students, not to get good score. We have to evaluate the students in all these three domains: in cognitive domain, in psychomotor domain, in affective domain. So based on that, we have to make some benchmarks. We have to evaluate and we have to certify. Then only we can get a quality output from the system. So that is very much important. Evaluation is also very much important. So all these four elements are very much important for education system. That is why in ancient education system there was no competition. The education is not a race. Education is a experience. It is not a race. But today what you are doing? If you send your child to the school, you will compare your school, your child with the neighbor child. He may be score 90, your child may be score 60. You will compare. But it is a wrong system today. Our paradigm has to be changed. Mental thinking has to be changed. So education for experience, not for race. It is not a race. So that is why ancient education system was focused more on understanding yourselves and totally relief from the all tensions. So that is complete realization and liberation of self. So okay, we are practicing on that only. This National Education Policy 2020 is also having that foundation. And here at this time, I remember one statement or one matter or one letter I heard somewhere in the newspaper. when there was a Nazi's concentration camp in Germany, there was one letter. There was one letter found. It was written to the teacher from a victim. So there was one statement. He was suspicious about the education. He was requesting, he was writing letter to the teachers. Dear teacher, I am having a suspicion of the education. Because here nurses, doctors, engineers have spoiled all the things, even though they are educated. But that's why I suspicious about the education. Education is creating a cruel people. That is why I request you, don't waste your energy always, because your effort should not focus to create that is monsters. You should not create monsters, learned monsters, and that is psychopaths, skilled psychopaths, and illiterate educators. Like that, it was written to the teachers. So that is why we have to think a lot on that. We have to create a students with the right knowledge, with the right content. So that is regarding education. And I will shift to the technology. So immediate after hearing the term technology, what do you mean by technology? Technology is nothing but it is an application of scientific knowledge for practical purpose. That is a simple form of technology definition. Application of scientific knowledge for practical purpose, especially in industry. But it is a branch of knowledge dealing with engineering or applied science. Machinery and equipment developed from the application of scientific knowledge. It is being called as a technology in general form. But here, in simplest form of technology, technology refers to methods, systems, and devices which are the result of scientific knowledge being used for practical purposes. So technology is nothing but it may be method, system, or device which are the result of the scientific knowledge being used for practical purpose. So converting a science into art, the technology converts science into art. So then what is the purpose of technology? The main purpose of technology is to enable the effective sharing of data to address the problems or challenges and help individual and organization to be more innovative, efficient, effective, and productive. So this is the main purpose of technology. And here the technology should make the task easier, effective, and economic. Always technology saves time and money. Then only it will be called as a technology. The technology should save the time, effort, and money. Time saving, your effort saving, your money saving. These three are important components or elements to be focused when you are designing a technology. Technology should serve these three purposes. So that is why the technology is very much important for country development. Country development. And here there are 6 types of technologies available right now in the broader there is a domains. Technology is available in 6 important domains. The first one is the construction technology, transportation technology, energy or power technology, communication technology, manufacturing technology, and biotechnology. So in all these 6 domains we are using technology. So technology is an important element of economic development of the country or development of civilization. Development of civilization. And next, engineering education. So engineering education today has become less important for the people, for the students. When I was taking admission in the engineering college during 1982, there was a big demand for engineering education. Today, there are so many seats are vacant in engineering education in different disciplines, and some of the engineering colleges have been closed. So that is why engineering education is not taking or is not fulfilling the requirement of the country. Somebody is telling, sir, there is no opportunities for employment. Lot of opportunities are available because a lot of projects are going on. Country vision is great, but to cope up with that, we are not able to produce a suitable candidate. We are producing an eligible candidate. BA graduate is eligible for assistant engineer, but he may not be suitable for work as an assistant engineer. The suitability is more important than eligibility. So we have to produce an eligibility student rather than suitable student rather than eligible student. So we have to think more on eligibility rather than suitability. So that is why suitability has to be maintained. And education technology, concept, objectives, and scope. Here, this education technology mainly consists of two terms, education and technology. The technology applied in the process of education, that is called as the education technology. So modern age is the age of science and technology, as you know already. The world of today is very dynamic, and we are witness of series of technological innovations in our day-to-day life. The life of man in the primitive age was altogether different from his life in this Sputnik age. There have been tremendous changes in the lifestyle of human beings, which may be attributed to the contribution of science and technology. Its influence is being reflected in all productive endeavors. The contribution of science and technology has been experienced in almost all the spheres of human life, including education. So education is also using a lot of technology. Without technology, we cannot move ahead right now. So the technology is a platform, or is a device, or is a jumping pad for development. So technology has spread in all aspects of the routine life. So next slide. Now, next, let us go to evolution of educational technology. How the educational technology have been evolved. In the early period of human history, when writing was unknown, the method of presentation on the part of the teachers and citation and memorization on the part of students was common practice in almost all the civilization of the world. So in the early period of human history, when writing was unknown, the method of presentation on the part of teachers and citation on the part of memorization on the part of students was a common practice in almost all the civilization of the world. Next, with the advent of writing as the means and materials of communication, next they found out writing as a means and materials of communication, like writing on the leaves and writing on the tree trunks, and there is engraving on the metals and rocks, and then the use of some types of papers and ink material provided the next breakthrough in the use of writing technology for teaching and learning. When we got the writing technology, writing skill, then it started development of teaching and learning process. Next. In the time to come, it provided a great impetus in the field of teaching and learning, which witnessed the use of this subject matter available in the form of printing material and textbooks, a great scientific and technological advancement. The use of writing and printing technology then took its next leap in helping the cause of teaching and learning by being utilized in the production and use of the instructional material like chalk or blackboards, pictures, charts, models, maps, diagrams and other graphic materials. So this has been developed slowly. Next. Later on, with the industrial development and technical advancement, sophisticated scientific instruments, mass media and educational materials were used. It brought the use of sophisticated hardware and software such as radio, television, tape recorders, films, transparency, etc. in the field. Now these have entered the field of education day by day. The concept of programmed instruction and theories of learning later on added another dimensions to the meaning and concept of educational technology. So then the concept of programmed instruction and theories of learning later on added another dimensions to the meaning of concept of educational technology. Next. The new approaches in the form of system approach, micro-teaching, interaction analysis, and computer assisted instruction came into existence. So after that, new approaches. There is system approach, maybe micro-teaching, interaction analysis, and the computer. They assisted the instruction came into existence. In modern classrooms, students experiencing more than that through digital classrooms, smart classrooms, online learning, and e-learning methods. So all these are being practiced right now. That is smart classrooms, online learning, and e-learning methods. So these are being experienced by today's students. When I was a student, even I did not know the use of computers. But today, within a span of 30 to 40 years, a lot of tremendous change in the communication technology. Because of that only, we are accessing all information throughout the globe. So it has been, it made learning very easy. So that is why the man have developed like anything right now. Next. The meaning of educational technology. The term technology implies the application of science to art. It's the application of science to art. The concept of technology has been developed during the last few years. It is a new area in the discipline of education. Educational technology is comprised of two words, education and technology. When we apply the science of learning and communication to teaching, we evolve a technology. Technology is a combination of communication and application of science. Next. There are three major factors that emphasize the linking of education with technology. These are three factors which are linking of education with the technology. The first one is education technology is concerned with the development, application, and evaluation of systems, techniques, and aids to improve the process of human learning. The ultimate purpose of education technology is to improve the process of human learning. It should help, it should make easy, learning should be easy, it should facilitate learning very systematically. It could be conceived as a science of techniques, methods, and media by which education goals could be realized. Education technology may be defined as the systematic application of the knowledge of science to practical tasks in education. It is a communication process resulting from the adoption of the scientific method to the behavioral sciences of teaching and learning. Here, the behavioral science means attitudes or values or the what is called the characters that student behavior has to be changed. So to change that, we are adopting one psychological technology. That is why it is a communication process resulting from the adoption of the scientific method to be the behavioral science of teaching or learning. Educational technology is seen both as a means as well as service. It is seen as a means or service to effect and facilitate better and more productive learning system. The learning system should be more productive. So that is why educational technology is seen both as a means as well as service. It may be defined as a separate field in the theory of education dealing with the development and application of the use of educational resources. The definitions of educational technology. There are different peoples who have given the definition of education technology. So here I gone through two research papers to make presentation of this. The one is an introduction to educational technology by Prashant Venpakal is one paper. One more, changing paradigms of engineering education, an Indian perspective by Dr. Pavai Madheshwara and Dr. Uma Mageshwari. So they have written two important research papers. Based on their assumption, based on their results, I have collected this definition, different definitions from different people. So the first one is GOM. As per his concept or as per his statement, educational technology is a systematic application of scientific knowledge about teaching learning conditions of the learning to improve the efficiency of teaching and training. And as per Shri K. Mitra, educational technology can be conceived as a science of techniques and methods by which educational goals could be realized. Then next, as per S.S. Kulkarni, as per his statement, educational technology may be defined as the application of laws as well as recent discoveries of science and technology to the process of education. Here he mentions, may be defined as the application of laws as well as the recent discoveries of science, laws and discovery of law, science and technology to the process of education. Application of science and laws to the education process is called as the education technology. Next, as per D. Unwin, educational technology is concerned with the application of modern skills and techniques to requirements of education and training. This includes the facilitation of learning by manipulation of media and methods and the control of environment insofar as this reflects on learning, online learning. Next. W. Kenneth Richmond, he explains educational technology is concerned with the providing appropriate design learning situations which, holding in view the objectives of teaching or training, bring to bear the best means of instruction, as per his definition. And as per Aicte Davis, educational technology is concerned with the problems of education and a training context, and it is characterized by the disciplined and systematic approach to the organization of resource for learning. Then, there are so many definitions. I will just the Scottish Council for Education and Technology. Educational technology is systematic approach to designing and evaluating learning and teaching methods and methodologies aimed to the application and exploitation of media and the current knowledge of communication techniques in education, both formal and informal. So there are so many definitions, and they have given, but the ultimate meaning is the education technology is a method or a system or a device which is the result of scientific knowledge which is being used in practical purpose. So that is next. There are so many definitions. Next, characteristics of education technology. So what are the characteristics of education technology? Characteristics of education technology are as follows. It is based on scientific and technological advancements. Always the education technology is based on scientific and technological advancements. And it is more a practical discipline and less theoretical one. Education technology is more practical discipline and less theoretical. And it is a fast growing modern discipline. It makes use of research findings of psychology, sociology, engineering, sciences, and social psychology, etc. It makes uses of all different disciplines and applies the same to the field of education. So, it takes use of all the fields, all the disciplines, and it applies to the field of education. That is the important character of education technology. It brings pupils, teachers, and technical beings together in an effective way. It is the science of techniques and methods. It locates the problems in the field of education, remedies them, and ultimately aims at improving the improving. Next, the education system. It is bound to be improve the teacher, the learner, and the teaching learning process. The main purpose of education technology is to improve the teacher, learner, and teaching learning process. Next. Then the nature of educational technology. What about nature it is having? So the basis of educational technology is science. The prime base for educational technology is science. It is scientific based. Educational technology studies the effect of science and technology upon education. Educational technology is a continuous, dynamic, progressive, and effect producing method. New concepts are possible only due to the educational technologies such as programmed learning, micro teaching, simulated teaching, interaction analysis, videotape, tape recorder, projector, and computers, etc. New concepts, all these are possible only due to the educational technology. So today projectors or computers, internet analysis, or interaction analysis, video, tape recorder, micro teaching, all these are possible only due to the education technology. That is the nature of education technology. Next. Education technology accepts schools as a system. This technology accepts school as a system. In this system, the school building, furniture, and teachers act as input, while various methods, techniques, strategies, and the teaching and examination with the help of audio-visual aids function in the form of process. Lastly, the output is in the form of ability of the pupils. So audio-visual aids cannot be termed as an educational technology. It is a part of educational technology. Some people are telling audio-visual aids are a educational technology. Audio-visual aids cannot be termed as educational technology. It is because its concern is only with the process aspect of educational technology and not with the input and output aspects. But if these AV, that is audio-visual aids, are used to achieve educational objectives, then it can be put in the category of educational technology. So AV, audio-visual aids, if they are used to achieve educational objectives, then it can be put in category of educational technology. Then programmed instruction is also different from educational technology. Programmed instruction is a part of education technology, but programmed instruction itself is not education technology. Its main cause is that the student learns himself during the programmed instructions. It does not allow interaction between pupils and teacher. So there should be interaction between teacher and student, then that will be called as a educational technology. Mere programmed instruction is different from educational technology. It is not programmed instruction itself is not a education technology. It's a part of technology. If it allows interaction between students and teachers, then it will be called as a educational technology. Next. Engineering technology is not the educational technology because the engineering technology has a manufactured radio, tape recorder, videotape, and TV, etc., which are used in teaching as a audio-visual aids, but they will not have any interaction with students and teachers. So that is why engineering technology is not the educational technology. Educational technology cannot solve each and every one problem of education. It can be used successfully in teaching and instructional systems only. Educational technology cannot solve each and every problem of education. It can be used successfully in teaching and instructional systems only. Next. Then what are the objectives of educational technologies? It is having some important objectives. The major objectives of educational technology are, the first one is to identify educational needs and aspirations of the learners. It is very much important. Education technology, if it is used efficiently or systematically or scientifically, it will identify educational needs and aspirations of the learners. So you have to teach according to their needs and aspirations. So here this educational technology can do that. To determine the aims of education, broad strategies and structure of education. So the second objective is to determine the aims of education, broad strategies and structure of education. And third objectives of education technology is to develop a suitable curriculum with interaction of science, art and human values. So it will be useful in the third objectives of the education technology. Fourth one is to identify man-material resources and strategies for achieving the stipulated aims of education. This is one of the objectives. Next, fifth objective is to develop certain models leading to improvement of the process of teaching and learning. And sixth one is to develop the appropriate aids and equipment to meet the educational purposes. Next one is to identify major constraints in the environment and the ways and means to tackle those. To help in extending educational opportunities to the masses, especially the neglected section of the community. Here, the important objectives of this education technology is to help in extending what is that? Educational opportunity. To help in extending educational opportunities to the masses, especially the neglected section of the community. Neglected sections of the community means it may be remote rural area or somewhat slum area. To extend the education opportunities to them is possible only through educational technology. So if you use education technology to the full extent, we can give a high quality education to all people in the country. So the Aicte education can be given to the remote area if the information technology or this education technology are used very systematically and scientifically, it can be achieved. And to manage the whole education systems covering planning, implementation and the evaluation times. Scope of educational technology. Here, the education technology is having a lot of scope. Out of them, education technology is concerned with all variables, phases, levels, and aspects of the teaching learning process. In brief, it works for overall planning and organization of the system or subsystem of education. The areas of its operation in education system are, the important areas of its operation in education system are, the first one is to analyze the teaching learning process. So it will analyze teaching learning process to identify the educational goals or objectives. Next. Development of curriculum. Then fourth one is development of teaching learning material, teaching preparation or teaching training, development and selection of the teaching learning strategies, development, selection and use of the appropriate audiovisual aids, effective utilization of the hardware and mass media, to work for the effective utilization of the subsystems of education, to provide essential feedback and control through the evaluation. These are the things, objectives. Then advantage of educational technology. What are the advantages of educational technology? So the major advantages of education technology are, first one is individualized instruction. So individualized instruction is possible, and improvement in the quality of teaching. So the quality of teaching is very much essential today. So with the help of education technology, we can improve the quality of teaching to the large extent. And next is encourage development of new teaching methods. So with the help of education technology, we can develop new teaching methods. And meeting the problem of mass education. So today, the mass education is the biggest challenge before us. As per National Education Policy 2020, the mass education is facing a lot of challenges. It has put a challenge before us. So here it can be addressed very systematically with the use of educational technology. So that is why it is one of the advantage of education technology. Equalizing educational opportunities. So we can give equal education to all. Already I have told you the important purpose of National Education Policy 2020 or important aspects are access, equity, quality, affordability, and relevance. So these are the 5 important elements to be considered. Here, with the help of educational technology, we can equalize educational opportunities to all. And next providing continuing education. Continuing education means lifelong learning is possible through the use of educational technology, and prepare students for the future is the advantage of education technology, and lowering the textbook and tuition prices. Today, the tuition prices and textbooks are so costly. So with the help of, with the advantage of education technology, we can reduce the textbook rate, textbook cost, and tuition fees. So because internet is available very cheap, and if the there is gadgets or computers and all these also cheaper today because of competition. So instead of the student going to America or other universities, it costs more. But through the online, he can get all the information virtually. Virtual classes will be very effective sometimes if audiovisual aids are used systematically. So also it will not be any disturbance there also. So that can be encashed with help of educational technology. That is why the economy of the country will be enhanced because there will be less expenditure by using this technology. Next. Forms of educational technology. The forms of education technology. So there are 4 different forms of educational technology. So these different forms, the first one is teaching technology, and second one is instructional technology, behavioral technology, and instructional design technology. Here, the teaching technology as a subsystem of educational technology is concerned with the task of systemization of the process of teaching. A teacher has to play role of technician by learning the art and science of teaching. Here, the teacher role is a teaching technician. The teacher should act as a teaching technician. He should not act as a teaching professor. He should act as a teaching technician. Technician always make a correction, always makes a repair of things. That is why he's called as a technician. But teacher are being called as a professor, teachers, lectures like that. But teacher has to become a teaching technician. There's one technique is there for teach. He should learn that technique. Any electrician or computer technician or AC technician or automobile technician, because they're having a specific skills to repair that. That is why the teacher should have a specific skills to repair the students as per the requirement. That is why a teacher should become a teaching technician by learning the art and science of teaching. Art and science of teaching. Teaching is an art, teaching is a science. So by combination of these two, he should become a teaching technician. And here, teaching must be regarded as a technology that a teacher should try to know and practice well if he or she wishes to be successful in his teaching job. If teacher is in the position to make the use of technology in teaching, he must be well equipped with the technological skills besides having a good knowledge or mastery over the subject matter. He should have equipped with the technological skills. Then only teaching will be effective in this era. Teaching is a scientific process, and its major components are content, communication, and feedback. Here, as per Davis 1971, he explains in his work, Management of Learning, has presented the 4 steps of systematically prescribed the contents of teaching technology to be learned and practiced by teacher for becoming a teaching technician. The 4 steps are planning of teaching, organization of teaching, leading of teaching, and controlling of teaching. Planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. So these are 4 important steps that teachers should adopt. Then only there will be effective teaching. So that is why teaching technology always focuses on these 4 important components. Then next, instructional technology. Instructional technology, the term instructional stands for certain type of command mean to getting some specific information, knowledge, and understanding about a thing or system or processes. Instructional technology in this way first try to plan what type of instructions and instructional material are needed in particular teaching learning situation, and then suggest ways and means for the utilization of this instructional material for the proper realization. Then instructional technology may be defined as a subsystem of educational technology which helps the instructor or learner himself as a part of his self-learning or auto-instruction by determining the media. So this is regarding instructional technology. And behavioral technology. It may be utilized to study and bring modification in the behavior of all living organisms. Behavioral technology may also be include behavior modification strategies which are not based on learning principles. Behavioral analysis and behavior modifications carried out through the principles of apparent conditioning, shaping of the desired behavior. Next one is instructional design technology. A good instructional is goal oriented with specific purpose of or purposes, implying that the manner in which the learner is imparted instructions should always be well conceived, planned, and effectively controlled phenomena. And here, the term instructional design in its simple meaning thus stands for layout or plan describing the manner in which an instruction process. So here, for getting effective instructional design with a clear-cut motive and helping the learner and teacher in the attainment of stipulated instructional objectives. So this is regarding instructional design technology. Next. Here, approaches of educational technology. There are 3 important approaches. So those are hardware approach and software approach, systems approach. Already you know these approaches. Hardware approach means this is already a device. Software is a program, so which actually does a work, a required work, or it is an instruction already programmed software will carry out the job what you are intended to do. The systems means is overall system, input, output, and process. So these are the different approaches of technology, that is education technology. Next. Here, resources, centers, and services in educational technology. So there are a lot of resources and centers in the country which are acting as a resource centers for education technology. The important thing is CIET, NCERT, that is Central Institute of Educational Technology. So this institute is designing, developing so many educational technologies, and the State Institute of Educational Technology, this site in India, this also is doing the same job. So there are only 6 sites are in India. State Institute of Education Technology, that is the one in Andhra Pradesh, one in Bihar, one in Gujarat, one in Maharashtra, one in Orissa and Uttar Pradesh. There are 6 State Institute of Education Technology. Next. Engineering education in India. So now we have completed that educational technology. Now I will enter into the engineering education in India. Engineering education in India, here, as you know already, engineers are the backbones of any country's economy. Today, as per survey, around 25% of world engineers are in India. If you consider the whole engineers in the world, out of all engineers, 25% of engineers are in India. But it lags behind in research and innovation. Even though we are having 25% contribution in the world, but India is lagging behind in research and innovation. This is because of what? According to my perception, this is because of quality engineering education. So that's till inception, since beginning of the engineering education in India, we are striving to improve the quality of engineering education. But the world is developing very fast. We are not facing with that speed. So that is why engineering education has to be improved in India. But here we are focusing more on knowledge part of engineering. We are not focusing on technology part of engineering. Technology part mainly depends upon a skill development. So all engineering institutions should focus more on skilling rather than giving mere information or knowledge. So that is why the information should be actionable. So the actionable information will call it a knowledge. If the knowledge is in action or information is action, then there will be called as a technology or it will be wisdom. So that is why engineering education is suffering in India because of lack of quality or lack of that may be a lagging in need assessment survey, or there may be gap in the survey of manpower requirement. So that is why you have to develop a suitability of engineers to the industry or society. Then a paradigm shift in engineering education took place. So right now, the paradigm shift have taken place in engineering education. That is teacher center to student center. Now, the shift has taken place. Content based education to outcome based education. Next. Knowledge seeking to knowledge sharing classrooms. Already the classrooms are knowledge sharing classrooms because there will be more interaction. Before there was a knowledge seeking, only the students came to get knowledge, but now they are sharing their knowledge because more homework will be given to them and more freedom will be given to them. They will come and share their knowledge, they will discuss. So the teaching is being happened or the learning is being happened through discussion, through experience, through exposure. So that is the recent trend in education system. And teachers, then teacher to facilitators, then the shift of teacher as a facilitator. Now the teacher should become a facilitator or mentor. It is a new concept now. Now traditional engineering disciplines to interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary discipline. It is a paradigm shift. So the traditional engineering discipline have gone, but now it has been shifted to interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary are very much essential. But in Education Policy 2020, the multidisciplinary education is focused more. And chalk and board learning to technology-driven learning. There was chalk and board learning. Now it is a technology-driven learning. Now what we are doing today, the presentation of myself to you all is a technology-driven learning. Before it was chalk and board learning. When there was a training programs in my institution, I invited 100 to or 80 to 60 participants from different parts of the state, and they were staying in the hostel and all. So it was chalk and board learning. It has gone. It made very comfortable and effective also. That is why chalk and board learning to technology-driven learning have happened. It is a paradigm shift in the engineering education. And but in India, still conventional teaching learning practices with little practical training is adopted in the institutions. So as per my perception, I have not made any survey, but in my routine 34 years of experience, I feel still conventional teaching learning practices with little practical training is adopted in many institutions. So that is why we have to shift from chalk and board learning technology to technology driven learning. Then only we can reach the vision of our NEP 2020. Otherwise, it's very difficult. Then we have to major challenges of Indian engineering education. I will focus something on major challenges of Indian engineering education. Here, declining enrollments for engineering programs and in higher degrees by research. As you know already, since 5 to 6 years, there is a tremendous decline in the enrollment of students for engineering courses and programs. And even in higher education, higher degrees by research also, some PGs also, they are not getting admission. This is because of what? If you think, as per my perception or my knowledge, this decline mainly because of non-availability of opportunities. Non-availability of opportunities for the engineers. And why this is like that? This is because of already I have explained to you. So only 25% of engineering graduates are suitable to get the job, even though are eligible as per the requirement, as per the qualification. They may be eligible, but they are not suitable. That is why the suitability has to be designed, find out by the involvement of industry into the institution. This is because of, clearly I can tell it, there is a lack of interaction between industry and institution. We are having a lot of programs, a lot of training programs, a lot of information, a lot of advice, a lot of office letters, everything is going on. But the industry institute interaction is lagging behind. It is not to the mark. Why this is? Industry interaction is lagging because, as per my knowledge, as per my perception, the aims and requirements of industries are different. Aims and requirements of institutions are different. So the industries are always convert ideas into cash. But institutions are always convert a student into better citizen. And here, their culture is different, our culture is different. We are focusing more on values of the students. They are focusing more on monies or profit. Here, these are not profit. Institutions are not profit oriented. Sometimes, recently, some institutions may have converted into profit organizations. But most of the institutions, 80% of the institutions, are philanthropic basis. But those in industries, their aims and objectives, their culture is to create money. Here we have to create knowledge. So the knowledge or the money mainly depends upon the knowledge, but it is a hidden agenda. That is why to enhance the enrollment ratio or to enhance the demand for engineering education, there should be a rigorous interaction between institute and industry. And recently, the Skill India mission have been launched from our great Prime Minister. So, what is the mission of Skill India mission? Skill India mission actually explains to rapidly scale up skill development efforts in India by creating end-to-end outcome-focused implementation framework, which aligns the demands of the employer for highly skilled manpower with aspirations of Indian citizens for sustainable livelihood. Look here. The mission explains the mission is to rapidly scale up skill development efforts in India. You have to do it. You have to rapidly scale up skill development efforts in India by creating what? End-to-end outcome-focused implementation framework. That framework should align the demands of the employer industry with aspirations of Indian citizens. The demands of the employer are highly skilled manpower with low cost they wanted. But Indian aspiration, citizen aspiration, the students' aspiration is they want a sustainable livelihood, especially they want lucrative career, respectful career, powerful career, comfortable career, and a sustainable career. It is aspirations of Indian citizens, aspirations of Indian students who have got degree from engineering college. And the demands of the employer, they want highly skilled manpower with less cost, but they want more money, they want to less spend. So this is mismatching. So that is why a systematic plan has to be taken place between interaction of industry and institute. So that is why the important root cause for declining enrollment for engineering program and higher degrees by research is a lack of or less industry institute interaction effort in India. These are not being taken voluntarily. There is no passion. So that is the first important, it is a very firstmost thing to be followed by the government or any authorities to make it very strictly. Then lack of qualified faculty members. Look here, the faculty members should enhance their knowledge and they should upgrade every month, every day, because the technology is growing very fast. So the qualified faculties or well updated faculties are not available in the institution. They cannot give a knowledge which is running outside from the institution. That is why the updating of knowledge from the faculty is very much important, because we have to give updated knowledge to the students. We are teaching what we know, but we should teach what the student wants. So the teaching what we know is not important, but teaching what the student required, that is important. That is why we have to upgrade our knowledge and skill attitude every day. Yes, we are being paid for what we are doing, not what we are knowing. All teachers are being paid for what they are doing, not for what they are knowing. From PhD, I may know knowing something, but if I don't do anything, no use of that money. So that is why we are being paid for what we are doing, not what we are knowing. So that has to be adopted very systematically in the institution. Then lack of quality checks in academic appointments for technical teachers. So during recruitment, so there is a proper quality check in academic appointments. So that is why the quality of engineering education will be lowered. And if there is no quality, no placement, no employment. And if there is no placement, no employment, no entry, no engineering, no student will get into the engineering education. These are the major challenges of Indian engineering education system is facing today. Next challenges are lack of research facilities. Yes, lack of research facilities not only in technology, but in pedagogy, but in management. But we are not making any rigorous research institution-wise why the engineering education is lagging behind. why we are not getting good students or good excellent students. We are not, each and activity has to be taken on research base. So there should be lack of research facilities in institutions and adequate infrastructure. So more number of colleges are having a shortage of infrastructure right now, and inadequate and highly variable connections between the engineering institutions and industry. Already I have explained to you. Lack of employability skills for job market among the graduates. Yes, employability skills are lagging behind because of system, and job markets expectations of uncompromised supremacy in skill set of their employees. Job markets expectation of uncompromised supremacy in skill set of their employees. That is also one of the reason. And high societal perception on engineering as a profession. High societal profession perception, because we are thinking engineers are social status thing, because there may be some jobs, but they're not, but the people will not go for that because they are thinking about a respected job. Even though it is having those respect means it is there is no loss of respect, but they think they are the great. But that mindset has to be gone from the students. Whatever it may be, if it is a job, if I am earning sincerely or systematically without disturbing anybody, and if it is ethical things, we can join that job. But people are thinking white collar job they want. But that's why engineering admission are lagging behind. Next. Then the last slide is a conclusion. At the outset, so my opinion is quality education is essential today because a sustainable development and survival of the institutions, we have to give a quality education to all as per National Education Policy 2020 vision. So that is it should be the education policy should be rooted in Indian ethos, and which transforms our country into equitable and equivalent, that is a vibrant knowledge society, by providing high quality education to all. So we have to provide high quality education to all. This is possible only through adoption of education technology very systematically. Then a quality teachers, a quality infrastructure. So the quality consciousness has to be developed in the minds of the people, and we have to explain the quality is not a destiny, quality is a culture. So the quality culture has to be adopted in the institutions. Then only we can reach the vision of our NEP 2020. Then adoption of technology in education. I have told already, nearly 40% of faculty members are still not using audiovisual aids or this technological advancements in teaching learning process. And I think even the technology has grown to the large extent in the world. Only you are using 25% of total technology available in the world. Even though maybe we tech savvy. If you take a mobile of me, only 25% of this capacity is being used by me. Technology have developed like anything, but we are not able to use all facilities of this mobile systematically. So that is why we are lagging behind the use of technology in our education system, in our routine system. So that is why we want to speed up our use of technology in our routine system and adoption of technology in education also, and values in education. Already I am stressing, emphasizing the values are the pillars of sustainable development and survival. If you want to develop systematically, if you want to live, if you want to survive, if you want to exist, so you should not forget the values. So that's why the education should be value based, that is competency based. Values and competencies, these are important things. Then need based and demand driven curriculum. Already I have explained, curriculum is a heart of education system. The heart should be strong. then only the man will survive. So that is why need-based and demand-driven curriculum has to be designed. We should not make a unnecessary waste of resources to develop a curriculum. So that is why the curriculum should be need-based and demand-driven. And here, teacher as a mentor. Teacher should act as a facilitator and mentor. He should not act as a just teacher, just information giver. He should act as a guide, should act as an advisor, he should act as a mentor, he should act as a facilitator, he should act as a local parent. Then only we can produce a quality students from our education system, and that will aim towards the achieving of our national education policy vision. By 2040, our India should become a global knowledge hub, a global skill hub. Whole world should look towards the India, and India should become a guru of the world, and India should give a lesson to the all people on the earth. So like that, it is possible because Indian ethos are very excellent. The education system should be rooted in Indian ethos, and only thing we should not forget the quality education, adoption of technology in education, values in education, need-based and demand-driven curriculum, teacher as a mentor. So these are the important factors to be considered. So with this, I conclude my presentation. Thank you and all, and I thank all the organizers who have given me an opportunity to present some information to you all. What I know, I presented. Thank you, one and all. Any questions? Interactions? Put it. Oh, that's 130. 145. For 15 minutes, we can make some interaction. Anybody want to ask something or some clarification or some suggestions, additions? It is open to all. Any chat? Chat box. No chatting.
Camera on agite ನೋಡು. ಇದು ಕ್ಯಾಮ್ರಾ ಯಾಕೆ ಸರಳ ಆನ್ ಆಗೋದು?
No? Vote of thanks, sir. Next session is start agata.
Any questions from the participants?
No, sir.
Sir, end ಮಾಡೋಣ sir.
No questions, I think.
So we will end the session. Sir, shall we end the session, sir?
Okay, madam. No problem. No problem.
Okay, sir. So I am very thankful to Shri G.B. Danashetti sir for providing his session on education, technology and engineering education. He has covered the topics like education, technology, engineering education and education technology. I thank sir for delivering this informative session to all of us. He covered a lot of points about talking about education components like curriculum, teaching, learning, education, and how the teachers should be changing their characteristics, and how they must adopt the different pedagogies like OBE, and inculcate teaching and practice in their education, teaching and learning process. Try to understand about the evaluation tools in teaching and learning. And they also, sir also covered the topics on approaches of education technology and quality of the education. He concluded his session by talking about quality education, then adoption of technology, values in education, need-based curriculums, and teachers as a mentor. Sir, I am very thankful to you for covering such a beautiful backgrounds, and so many of points were covered by you, sir. Thank you for this exhaustive session, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Same to you. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Next session.
Now I just want to tell my dear participants that the next session will start sharp at 3 p.m. 3 p.m. sharp.